My first thought was that we should have voted on a new marathon for Patreon.
Without Randy here? Oh man, that's fucking low. That's cold. It's cold, Les.
Like a month of increasing shark head
Yeah.
movies. Like in a one-headed shark movie, there's a selection we can pick from shark movies. You can do Jaws, but I think you're going to be disappointed if you start out that high.
Man, I would definitely pitch the sci-fi. Like, I'll pitch you even a lower budget movie to your numbered shark attack. Like, 3-headed shark attack, 6-headed shark attack. Here's my idea for a prequel: 1-headed shark attack.
Right. It's a headless shark. Oh my God. Do the Headless Horseman, do Sleepy Hollow.
But it's a shark.
But it's a
yes,
cove. And it's a headless shark.
Sleepy Hollow Cove.
How does it even eat people? How is it dangerous?
He's got a conch shell that's on fire even though it's underwater. Ichabobber crane.
Episode 451 of the TV Dudes. Escape from the Bloodkeep. Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes, and Randy is out this week, but you've got me and you've got...
Nick, that is me. You pointed at me on a fucking audio format.
Yes. It's almost as if all of the hours of watching real play of tabletop games has disrupted how I understand visual and audio media. But we're going to discuss a Patreon request, Escape from the Bloodkeep, over on YouTube. And of course, we're also going to talk a little bit about Netflix's new adventure into live-action anime,
But
One
Randy
Piece.
rolled really hard on persuasion, so he doesn't have to talk about it.
Yes. Yeah, I really wanted to see what was going to happen. First, he rolled a nat 1, and it was going to be hilarious.
Well, his Constitution save is not great.
We were going to totally skip out on watching it. And yeah, but then he had advantage, and he got to re-roll, and so now he's got to miss out. We're also going to talk about our desserts. Harley Quinn, the My Adventures with Superman finale of season 1, and what I hope is many, many seasons, as well as the Afterparty finale, which I'm sure we'll talk about again next week when Randy's back, but we can't wait to talk about it now. Now is a great time to also tell you about our Patreon, which I assume this week Nick and I are going to talk about Bottoms.
Bottoms?
That sounds dirtier than it should be. Bottoms is, of course, the new comedy movie starring Rachel Sennett from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies and Shiva Baby that Nick and I saw in the theaters this week. It is pretty funny, very insane, worth a watch and worth chatting about. But before all that, let's do our TV Diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Nick, you want to go first? We have basically the same list.
Sure. I watched The Equalizer, which you basically watched only half of because I was interested in that.
Yes.
I don't know. The Equalizer 3 is coming out, and I just thought I'd rewatch that first one, and there's nothing wrong with it. Anton Fuqua, and it just feels weird. Like because it feels like there's no story progression. Like the Equalizer, Denzel Washington characters in that movie doesn't really change or grow throughout any of the movies, and that's the one he chooses to franchise on.
Yeah. When you mentioned that, I don't think I'd ever considered it, but honestly, as soon as you said it, I think that's why. I think that's why he franchises this one. Any other one, his character's going to have an arc in a movie, and he's going to have something happen in between the movies that resets the arc. So then he's got to relearn or learn. That's harder and harder to do. I mean, anybody that's done huge franchises is going to see that attrition. So instead, he franchises the one where he's like an NPC.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not, I'm thinking entirely in D&D terms this week. Like you get the one where he's like a function of the plot and everyone else gets to grow. And then he meets a new set of people next movie and they get to grow because he keeps them alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's facilitating the plot for other characters, really.
Right. That's it. And I swear, I honestly think that's why this is the franchised one out of his entire fucking career.
Yeah. So we also went to the theater and saw Theater Camp.
Yes. Man, I really enjoyed Theater Camp. So Theater Camp is Ben Platt and Molly Gordon, who is Claire from The Bear this past season. And it's basically like all of the Amy Poehler, Bradley Cooper theater scenes from Wet Hot American Summer made into a movie. And oddly also stars I think Sid from The Bear.
Yeah.
In a role, as does Bottoms, blanking on her name.
We keep looking it up because we keep forgetting. Like, if we keep forgetting what her name is, it's like, God.
Ayo Edebiri. Yeah, she's great in both movies. So yeah, Theater Camp was a last minute thing. Like it almost slipped out of the theaters without anybody I know noticing it. I don't know anybody that saw it. I read a couple of things that said it was funny. I noticed that it was finishing playing on Thursday and was like, Nick, you want to go catch like the last show in Austin of Theater Camp? And I'm glad we did. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was very funny. As far as the comedy for this summer, I think it's been pretty stellar across the board. And Theater Camp is just a fun, like, when you grab the one or two kids, weird, like kids that play dress up or dance or get picked on for like in their acting group out of all the high schools and put them in one place and Theater Camp, and like, oh yeah, this does facilitate a story. Like, why did we not make more movies about theater camps? Like, they're all eclectic characters to the point where one of my favorite characters is just what's his name? Fucking Tyler? Like some fucking straight ass name. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the one kid that can, he gets in trouble because he sneaks off and throws a spiral at somebody, and it's like, no, the other kids from the other kids,
looks like
none of us could play football and just
playing a sport.
Yeah, like the one like clearly like heteronormative kid.
And it's what I love about him is he's having fun. It's not like he's going here by like he's not going here against his will. He's having a fun time.
Yeah,
he's just not as intense as everyone else of like the theater counselors telling kids that this will destroy you. You are the like oldest soul in this room. Oh God, this is your last life.
When one girl uses tear stick to make herself cry, and they make it out like it's Lance Armstrong doping and like make her apologize to the straight
and Tyler, whatever his name is, like I don't feel like
good.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It is not fine.
Like, he's one of a couple of ways that they give you not just like a straight kid, but like just an outsider, not theater nerd perspective. Because you get him and you get Troy. And honest to God, I really thought there was about to be a romance between Troy and Glenn.
Yeah.
Who is the
he's like the tech roadie kind of
stagecraft stuff, all the tech. Yeah. Which is hilarious because like it actually feels perfect. It really feels like Theater Nerds wrote this because he is running in the background, doing everything, building every set, facilitating everything. He is barely treated as a teacher.
Even though like in the other teachers and counselors
looks like
don't see what the kids and like, Troy even see. Obviously, he's obviously the most talented person here.
Right. But
like
he's tech.
He's
back of the house.
It's like the kids, like, it's obvious, right?
He's invisible. Yeah, and he's fucking invisible. Man, there's a lot of little things in this movie that were hilariously funny. But it's got a real subtle fake documentary kind of charm to it. The documentariness of it kind of comes in.
The documentary feels like a last second add-on top to justify time skips in the like how fast the summer is going, because they never acknowledge that they're making a documentary. Like, no one ever looks in a camera, no one acknowledges a crew. Like, it never, like, I don't know.
Yeah, like the movie acknowledges a documentary is happening, but in scene the characters don't really. Like, otherwise the documentary crew would have set up the camera in Jones' room at the end. But anyway, it's Theater Camp should be out streaming, I believe, really soon, like next week. I want to say it comes out like the 14th or something on streaming. So definitely make time to check that out if you see it come across your streaming.
Oh, speaking of people who keep forgetting their format as documentary, What We Do in the Shadows had a finale.
Yeah, they did. They dropped 2 at once.
And honestly, they do remember every once in a while when it's funny. Like,
yeah, like occasionally, like in the show, they'll at least looking like, and this documentary crew. Go shit. Yeah, that's right. You guys can see.
What about when it doesn't make sense? Then we just don't address it.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten several of them killed.
Yeah, the Guillermo and them coming to a head because they released the last 2 at once, right? So we watched.
Yeah, they dropped 2 at once.
Christian Schall's The Guide. I don't think she has a name. She has just The Guide.
No, she's just The Guide. And yeah, her. Well, they're invited to a dinner party, and then it's a haunted, like they're being hunted, and it turns out it's The Guide.
Yeah, and her final come up, it's like they're just treating her like shit the entire season and previous season too. And she's finally had enough, and that's what leads to the ultimate reveal of Guillermo being outed to to Nandor, who's the only one who doesn't know that he's been bitten and is a vampire now. And that leads into the finale, which is basically him hiding from everyone unsuccessfully because everyone just knows where he is or is told by another character except for Nandor, who finds Patton Oswalt instead of Guillermo and learns a valuable lesson from Patton Oswalt because he befriends him and learns valuable lessons about how you can lose a friend and how that can affect you because he pushes Patton Oswalt off a building after having a heart-to-heart.
And I can't stress enough, not a character Patton Oswalt is playing.
Just
the actor Patton Oswalt. Just Patton Oswalt. No, he is no more. He has been shoved off a building by Nandor.
You are wise beyond your years, Patton Oswalt.
Like, Nandor hypnotized him of like, we are not here to talk about you, Patton Oswalt.
Also, like, I have lost I was thinking of a friend I lost recently, Patton Oswalt. Like, do you mean when you fucking kicked him off the goddamn building? So yeah, I guess in their universe, Patton Oswalt is a fucking dead man, or
he's dead now.
They don't even come back and revive him zombie style like they do with Derek.
No, that's right. Oh, that's right.
I love that they accept. Like, Nandor's the only one that figures out, well, his Van Helsing DNA is fighting off the vampire DNA, and I was like, yeah. Duh! Like, if it was the...
Yeah, and he's like, all you have to do is have him drink human blood.
The thing we were discussing the entire time. Like, I think it's his Van Helsing DNA, right? That's got to be what it is.
Right. So, when Guillermo fully vamps out and goes on like a little speedy rampage around the house for a moment, there was a second there where I thought, oh shit, he's about like there's going to be something about like when you make a Van Helsing into a vampire, they double down on bloodlust. Like I thought for a moment like he's about to be a fucking maniac. Yeah, or at least just like make complete trouble for them by like murdering.
But no, they go out
and no, they go the way I figured it would go.
And yeah, and they drink. I think do they kill people at the Panera Bread? I forget where they go, but and they just.
And he just
and they do a fucking just slaughter, which they haven't shown in a while. I remember like, oh yeah, they have been. It's been a couple seasons since Guillermo even brought someone here to feed. Like it's one of those things that.
Yeah, he mentioned like I guess I brought other people there for them to feel like have you.
It's one of those things that when you're doing a long form show that they go to the background because it's not story conducive. Like, look, he got blood from people, whatever. Like. We don't want to keep doing this every week of like who he gets blood from. We already did that storyline. And yeah, he's not down with it. And everyone else can kind of tell. And they make a fake ritual that includes Derek. Apparently, it was how
vampiric transmogrification.
Won't I die if Derek dies? No. You return to how you were before you were bit. So you'll just age a month very quickly.
Yeah,
which
is great because it explains why they can't afford to kill their master.
Because they would age hundreds of like years in an instant and die. But Guillermo just gets a fucking beard and And at the very last second, they bring back Benny Wong, Benedict Wong, and Topher. Just kidding, guys. I can talk normal now.
Yeah, no, it just takes a lot of practice. And then Derek zombies up. Derek. Yeah, no, he'll get it. He'll get it, though.
I got the story. And yeah, it's very much kind of back to status quo. You were saying you wouldn't be surprised if this was the last season. I would be. I feel like this doesn't really address the main issue, which is Nandor and Guillermo's relationship. Like they are now back to they're now back to vampire and human, but are they back to master and servant? Because I feel like that's not a
because they're in love.
That's not a place for them to end on. Like
that's true.
You want them to at least end on friends, if not if we're not going to go all the way with this fucking metaphor like we've been dancing around it in this season, especially of like, duh, you did it with Derek. And I was like, yeah, just have Guillermo and Nandor fuck, man. Let's do it. Like I feel like the story isn't complete until those two bone down. But
like I think you're right. I think in my mind it was the show couldn't, in fairness, end without Guillermo addressing the wanting to become a vampire. Mm-hmm. But since they went ahead and did that and took it back, like didn't have it happen as a Guillermo gets bit in the final scene of the finale, and we fade to black with him fanged up or something. Like if they weren't going to do that, then I think you're right that the real finale that they're going for, that they should go for, is the love between him and Nandor, because they've played with it a little bit. I mean, when he makes the wish that his wife, whose name I'm blanking on, that Marwa. She love all the same things he love, Marwa. And they've played with it. And then suddenly she loves Guillermo.
It's becoming more and more obvious throughout the seasons. And this one was like, we can't tell you that you cheated on Nandor by having another vampire bite you. And honestly, it should either end with them like trying to get together or something, or honestly, the relationship is very toxic between Nandor and Guillermo, of like treating him like a servant, and that you'd have to spend a whole season on that to change it, or just have them like, I can't be in this house anymore. That's the only time you get a happy ending for Guillermo. But I'm not sure if that's. I feel like that's what they want to go with though, because we all like Guillermo.
Yeah,
we all like him.
No, you want to see but to do that, you're gonna have to see the vampires grow a little more. To do it,
either that or he has to leave.
I don't know. I hope it's not the last season. I still want more of this.
Mm-hmm. No, I also watched We Summon the Darkness, which you recommended to me, which was an interesting movie that tries to hide its twist in the beginning, even though it's super obvious. Like maybe you've never watched it. Like, I guess every movie is potentially someone's first movie. So. So right. In that sense,
no, it's one of those like, but are we supposed to not know? All right, well, whatever. We'll just go with your like quit winking at us then.
It's a movie that is fun, inconsistent. It is about Satanists that aren't actually Satanists, that are actually trying to pin a bunch of murders on Satanists to up revenue for like a church thing that's run by Johnny Knoxville. And actually, Alexandra Daddario is the daughter, and she is doing her damnedest in this.
All of these things are, in theory, spoilers, but again, like these punches are haymakers that come from a mile out.
I don't know. I would say, I don't think you'd be mad if you watched it, but also I don't think you're going to be mad if you miss it and be like, how dare you not tell me about this movie? And no, I don't think anyone's going to say that.
Absolutely. If it's I've seen that several times. I don't know. If you're feeling like watching it, you're not gonna be mad at yourself.
Which prompted me to show less a movie of the same. I like that we try and what's the mirror image of this movie or something like it.
What's your?
Because I tried to show you a movie that does manage to hide its twist throughout it, because its twist makes no goddamn sense.
Its twist is so insane you can't possibly see.
And actually, it's because it's not really the other than Billy Zane being in the beginning of it. You have no idea that it's going to lead up to a twist, because otherwise it's like, where is Billy Zane when he's going to come back into this? Because it is basically just a ghost story set in World War II, like a haunted house that a bunch of World War II soldiers are protecting. And then the house hates Nazis. Great premise.
Yep. Absolutely great. Like, it sucks that you're hiding in a haunted house, but it's just creaky haunted house shit. Like, it sucks, but we'll just all sleep on pallets in the foyer, and we won't sleep in the beds.
And the house is fucking with them and like scaring them out and like doing doing Morse code,
but just kind of ghosty.
But then suddenly, a bunch of an SS
Nazis walk by.
troop goes by, and they try and let
it's
them,
like 50 Nazis walk
and
by.
the house goes, oh nah, we're going ham. Like these ghosts go ham on some fucking Nazis.
Yeah, Ghosts of War is the name of it. Yeah, with Brendan Thwaites. So it's got Robin from Titans. It's got Hawk from Titans. Jack Reacher, Alan Richardson,
Theo Rossi.
And I recognized. Oh yeah, it's got Theo Rossi. It's got Skylar Aston. Yeah, I believe is his name. Who was in? I think he's the replacement best friend in My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. They have a character sober up and they change actors. He's the change.
Yeah, they do a bunch of great stuff in the first and second act of this movie as far as the just selling this ghost story that you can a bunch of characters, like you said, you loved watching a bunch of soldiers when they hear a scary thing in the attic, they just like, okay, break time's over, and then just grab machine guns and fucking check it out. Like,
right. Yeah, like everybody just like chambers a bullet and heads up to the attic, like no question. It's not like you're like watching a bunch of kids decide what, which little brother goes up and looks.
Decisive big character. And I was, and even when the twist was going, on, you were like, well, okay, but also like, and then we like, oh yeah, but we have 20 minutes left less. And
yeah, I was like, all right, man, I paused it. I was like, that twist was fucking stupid, but I could live with it. I could live with it. And then you were like, no, look at the clock. Like there's 20 minutes left in this movie, Nick.
Well, they have to explain this.
What more could they possibly? That's what you were like. They have to explain the twist. Like there's no explanation that can make this twist better.
And here's my counter argument, Les. What about an explanation that makes it significantly worse?
And I'll be honest, I had not considered that possibility. And they succeeded at doing that. Yes. Over the next 18 or so minutes in that movie, like they just kept twisting and twisting and twisting.
Like at the end of it,
damn it.
Like I'm pretty sure it's still like they try and have both the sci-fi and supernatural thing at the same time, and it is like, what are we doing? I don't understand what's happening.
Right. It's a hypercube, but it's also haunted. Like, god damn it. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually do recommend Ghosts of Mars, though, because you'll have a great time.
That said, I highly recommend Ghost of Mars.
No, not Ghost of Mars. Ghost of War.
Not Ghost of Mars. Never recommend Ghost of Mars. Jesus Christ. Ghost of War. But yeah, I would recommend it. I wish it's not quite as simple as just stopping it before the ending.
I watched some more Good Fight.
Oh yeah. Facebook's been showing you Good Fight at 101%.
I watched some more Good Fight, so I know what Memo 618 is now, which is basically they find some footage of Trump saying something about it, of like Robert Mueller. It's apparently a thing when you need a law to back you up later, but in the meantime, you have Memo 618 to excuse some sort of order or whatever. And I was like, but that's not what you were using before. Like this was like a company was trying to bulldoze a lot, and they basically got an injunction, and they were like, but we don't want to ignore the injunction. So Memo 618, we get to like this. That was a company that did that. Like it wasn't a fucking political conspiracy,
right.
But
like they bulldozed somebody's family business, and like all the paperwork just vanished out of.
But that has nothing to do with a political agenda or Trump or whoever. That's just a company wanting to make their project and fuck over a small business owner.
It's like a catch-all indulgence you could buy.
And I'm like,
it seems like,
wait, so is this a governmental thing, or is this a rich, like a rich and powerful get to buy their way out? Is it what it? And then that was the last episode before quarantine hit, and then they don't address that plot line ever again. I don't think so.
Really, not really. That does not resolve in any. I mean, they can't land that.
No, I would be interested in to see how they might try if they had the chance.
But no, it would because that can't exist, and then you go back to being a law show where you practice.
Well,
law.
at any time a Memo 618 could come down and just erase whatever you were doing. Like it is
right.
It's weird.
Like your whole system's a sham now, right? Like, and I mean, honestly, after 618 is when shit gets real weird with the fake courts and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's after 618.
I don't know. I've been watching them all sorts of out of order for just the way Facebook recommends them to me. which I also watched what I thought was an episode of Boston Legal, because it had James Spader as
Dylan McDermott.
A lawyer, and I was like, and I'm like, and I have watched a lot of Boston Legal. Was a show I could watch with my dad. I've watched through all like 6 seasons of Boston Legal at least three times, like in the background at least. And I was like, I have not seen this episode of Boston Legal. How is that possible? Well, it's because it's not Boston Legal. I had no idea, Les, that Boston Legal is a sequel show spinoff.
Yes.
From a show called The Practice.
The Practice, yes.
How did I not know that? Like, I just went online.
I had forgotten that as well.
And I looked online for James Spader's character, Alan Shore, and it was like, yep, first appeared in The Practice. And like, in like the last season of The Practice.
Which spawns the spinoff, like, Boston Legal. Yeah.
What? What? Just one of those things that, like, I guess Law and Order and them have like a bunch of different spinoffs or whatever, and they share characters or whatever, but I didn't think Boston Legal shares no other characters with any other shows or anything like that. I was genuinely shocked. Like, Boston Legal, like, you don't get it, Les. Boston Legal is like one of my favorite lawyer shows. Like, I watched it a whole lot, watched it with my dad. Like, never, ever have I come across anything on the internet or anything that would lead me to believe that there was a prequel season of Alan Shore's character on another thing. It blew my mind.
So, I'm trying to confirm this. Yes. The Practice shares continuity with Ally McBeal.
What?
That means Boston Legal
and Alec McBeal are in the same universe?
Technically a continuity spinoff. Yes.
Okay.
Boston Legal, Boston Public, Gideon's Crossing, Ally McBeal are all the same universe.
Awesome.
Yeah. Crazy.
Who said the MCU was the first to build a fucking, like, TV was doing it way before you guys, motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, most of television exists in a snow globe in an autistic child's hand insane elsewhere.
Sure. Well, I mean, they got Law and Order.
Tommy Westfall universe.
They got the Law and Order actor. Like, once you get a Law and Order character share, like, well, that's like 1,000 hours of TV that are now in that guy's snow globe head already. Like,
oh, yeah. It's like every once in a while a movie would come out like in the aughts and like it would just collapse the Kevin Bacon of the universe.
Oh, well,
like
as soon as they added Kevin Bacon to the Guardians of the Galaxy special, Kevin Bacon is in the MCU. So you can name any movie, name any movie, name an actor in the MCU, like to get to that movie, and then name Guardians special. You got to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
it's like the Kevin Bacon game is 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon is no longer 6 degrees. I can get you there in 3, baby.
Like you're trying to think of how somebody connects with Kevin Bacon, and then it's just on your left. And
that's my secret cap. I'm always bacon. I watched some Stuntman Reacts on YouTube.
Man, those were great. I watched some of those with you.
Yeah, those are really cool. They got
that's Corridor Crew. That's the same guys that do
VFX Reacts, which I know Kyle
VFX
watched.
things that Kyle would always
And I watched a couple of those, and those suck. Those are not as good. Those are all technical and like they suck.
I do find it hilarious when they just whoop the shit out of like the actual Disney Plus scene on like replacing Luke's face. That correct?
Oh, sure, yeah. But also they suck Zack Snyder's dick on the Justice League Snyder cut or whatever of like how good it looks. So like whatever. I guess gray fucking color palette works for everybody, but whatever. But the stuntmen, like they get Scott Adkins to do a couple episodes, which is really cool. And all the stuntmen just they bring in stuff they on stuff they did and just tell stories about the stunt work and stuff. And the people that they get from the MCU, they got one guy that was in the Bucky suit for Winter Soldier and Civil War and stuff like that. And they got the guy that was in the Black Panther suit. And all those were interesting as far as listening on how Marvel treated the team and how they gave them the leeway of making a fight scene. And like you and me, let's discuss later of like, oh man, I think we cracked the code on some of the fights here in...
Oh, yeah. How much more Marvel cares about telling a story with a fight versus pausing the movie for a fight.
Yeah, because like everyone else tries to copy Marvel by going, okay, here's this much story, and then we pause for a fight, and I'm like, well, you already fucked up. You don't pause for the fight.
Yeah.
You just tell the story in the fight. Because everyone, like, they're talking about the knife flip and that Bucky is telling, and how that was part of a storytelling decision they made on the fly of like, well, I saw Bucky do a knife flip that in the first first Captain America movie, so I thought that'd be a good idea to like give the knife flip in the middle of combat and watch. You can see Cap react to it, but he doesn't remember. Like, he doesn't realize he reacted to it. He doesn't realize he recognized it. And I was like, Jesus, that's so in depth and layered for a second of combat.
Yeah,
but also that's why those fights. And what's fucked up is
I know the moment he's talking about. Like that does hit in the theater. I think like. You feel it,
and
I
wonder, and I was always wondered. I just thought it was cool. I thought it was cool looking, but I'm wondering, subconsciously, does the audience?
I think you knew.
Does the audience? Do we know on a subconscious level the same way Cap reacts to it? Do we react the same way?
I think you recognize. You know that person a little bit.
You know that move is some like you're supposed. You don't know why you reacted to that move and thought like, hey, that was significant, right? But you don't know why. Yeah, like Marvel subtly programming you from movie 1 in phase 1 to react to something they're going to reveal in like phase 2 and 3. Like, just really, really interesting. Also, just get to watch some really cool stunts and how we can't like we watched Dawn of the Dead recently. I think it was last week on one of our TV Diaries we didn't mention.
Yeah,
and we saw
the Snyder Gun
one, which we luckily holds up. It's pretty good. Kind of nervous about that, but we found it interesting that James Gunn and Zack Snyder kind of almost negate some of the worst aspects of each other in his script versus the direction. And one of the shots was the stunt actor for what's her name? Sarah Paulson?
I think it's is it Sarah Pauli?
Sarah Pauli.
Pauli.
Yeah. And she falls into the bathroom and just fucking wails her head. It's a great stunt. Just eats shit into the bathroom. And we were both like, oh my God, what a great stunt.
Yeah, it's when she's panicked backing away from her husband, I think.
Yeah,
who's just been bit. And she backs into the bathroom. She slams the door. He comes crashing through it. And she backs into, it's exactly what you do. Like, she backs up too far and she hits the edge of the tub. But she eats it.
Wipes out.
Like, it has got to be one of the smallest and I would say dangerous stunts.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's all hard.
Like, it's one thing when you're running behind a car in a Marvel movie or something and they've got, like, you spend a month rehearsing it and they have a contraption built to spin you exactly. I'm not saying it's not dangerous as fuck, but there's a lot of shit that can be built to make it safer. I don't know what exactly they padded to make it safe for her to just. Also,
it was a great use of the
eat it in a porcelain tub.
It was a great for the use of the double because we were arguing whether or not they were used a stunt person for it, and I'm like, definitely they had to have used a stunt person for that. And then the stuntman react videos make me 100% sure of that theory of like, nope, like that stunt is way too dangerous. Sarah Pauli has to give dialogue and remember lines for the rest of this shoot, and we can't have her fucking. Because, man,
concussed.
That's stunt woman or man, I don't know, like someone in a wig wails their head on that thing, and I'm like, fuck. Hopefully that was the only take.
Or possibly a latex
hopefully
mask.
That was the only take you had to do that on, because you fucking.
Oh, Lord.
There's no way you came out of that okay.
The parkour guy sliding out the window and like, yep, I've never run through glass before. We're on an actual 10th story balcony or whatever. Glass is slippery once it's broken in on the ground. All the stunt guys were like, yeah, hit it, but don't hit it too hard.
Yeah.
Like, or you'll go over that balcony. Like, fuck, all right.
Or Scott Adkins talking about fighting Jackie Chan in his first movie, The Medallion. Like, director's like, hit him harder. And the Jackie Chan stunt team are like, you better fucking, you see what happens.
Yeah. Be careful.
That's what they said. Like, be careful.
Meanwhile, like Sammo Hung's just yelling at him from across the room.
Fucking more power.
Well, like Sammo Hung's known and fought with Jackie for decades. Like it's like having somebody's best friend yell at you like, no, you can punch that dickwad. Fuck him.
And just the guys whose job is to make sure that Jackie's okay is like, you could definitely not punch that dickhole. Like,
do not punch that dickwad.
Also watched Critters Attack. You found that
at the library.
Which I was like, they did not make it's like a Halloween 2018 style Critters movie where they made
ignore everything
but the first one, and which was, you know, fun.
It's a way to go.
It definitely makes me go like, well, the writing of your movie could be great because some of the writing in here, the jokes are definitely could work, and the actors are not.
Yeah, it's Scott Lobdell. It's
off.
Yeah, it's a longtime comic writer doing it, and yeah, I disagree with some of the writing choices on it, but honestly, that's not the problem with this movie.
No, you could have wrote fucking anything.
Nobody delivers the jokes right,
and no one's hitting their marks or trying to get. No one really understands what the comedy of this is here.
Yeah, it feels just weirdly done. That said, they do giant critter ball.
Hell yeah, they do.
They don't up the ante. They it actually is less spectacular than the previous one, but but it is still giant critter ball, which is fucking rad. And I gotta say, anything else happening in this movie, the critters look great.
Indeed.
Those little puppets, they may not even be able to get them wet.
It felt like they couldn't get them wet.
They look fucking wonderful. There's a disturbing
lack of blood in this rated R movie.
There really is. But there is, I don't want to know how they sex this critter.
Bianca.
They just seem to know, but Bianca the Krite is a great addition.
Yeah, in universe they're called Krites.
Yeah. Critters, you get it. You see how they got there. Yeah.
Also I watched One Piece. Like 3.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about One Piece? I know one thing about One Piece. It is stupid long.
Yeah, it is crazy long. It's like 1,000 episodes.
It's like the only
I'm not exaggerating. I think it broke 1,000 a while ago. It's like 1,071 or something.
Yeah, like, you know, nobody can name like the main characters in War and Peace offhand, but some nerd's gonna correct me here, but everybody knows that it's a really, really, really long book, and that's basically all I know about One Piece too.
And I'll say I'm shocked as anybody. It's pretty good. Like, it is.
I ended up watching across probably 3 different episodes over your shoulder, and I don't want to enjoy it, and it's pretty fun.
Like,
like I actively, my brain's like, this is anime.
Some of the emotional beats they hit are working. Like the actor they got to play Luffy is the same guy as Chuppy from Imperfects. We know we love him. And he's the exact perfect puppy dog actor to portray this like naive kid that doesn't seem to know what a pirate is. Like, well, because why do all pirates have to be scared? Because they're pirates. Like, oh, we're gonna steal this ship? Yeah, we're pirates. What are you talking about? And I think what really helps it is that in every other aspect, it is treated like a serious, like actual, like dramatic, like the cinematography is on a level in competition with, you know, shows like Daredevil or
Shadow and Bone or whatever. It's treated,
and
it's treated as seriously as any other. It doesn't look like an Amazon production, so it doesn't look like Wheel of Time.
And like the lighting,
but it's got a Netflix Narnia vibe. Yeah,
and even the writing has some of the some really great, like they start off with the Gold Roger really just fucking over the Navy and really selling home the entire theme of the show of you killed one big pirate to try and solve piracy, and then you made a bunch of smaller pirates because of the dumb thing you did, and you've been spent the next 20 years trying to clean up your mistake. And a great premise for a show to like just what your world is like, of like why there's so many fucking pirates.
Yeah, if at the start of Pirates of the Caribbean, the British government had killed Jack Sparrow in the square, and upon his death, his last words started Ready Player One.
But also, like, they take everything seriously, and the costuming and prosthetics and how everyone is designed and looks is unbelievably fucking stupid, and I love it.
Luffy somehow looks rubbery even when he's not stretchy.
Yeah.
it never feels out of nowhere like the Mr. Fantastic in any fucking Fantastic Four movie. Like this really, man, when he suddenly stretches his fist back or his head back to fucking headbutt a dude, it's really works. It's weird. Also, that kid is so earnest, man. He's perfect.
Oh yeah, and everyone's costuming is basically the same as it is from the anime. Like if they wore a dumb hat in the anime, that fucking dumb hat is on that character's fucking head.
Yeah, if their hair looks stupid, their hair looks stupid now. That said, what was the headline I saw? The Going Merry from One Piece live action disappoints everyone.
It is weird.
And like it's weird. I think they could have made it just look like the anime and it would have been fine.
Well, the Jolly Roger looks like from the anime. Like the fucking what ends up on the sail looks exactly like on the anime.
Right. That's exactly the same. They didn't make that.
I don't know why
cooler.
The sheep on the headmast is now suddenly realistic. It fucking freaks me out.
And screaming.
Why is it screaming now? The other one just had a dumb dopey smile on its face. It didn't look in pain. I don't
I could just hear goat noises every time I see it.
Also, I think they actually got the original writer of the manga to rewrite on the show here when they make changes, because they're condensing down a lot of plot stuff to make episodes run together so that everyone can meet up faster and form the crew faster. Like, you know, so they're combining elements and shortening up some stuff while still hitting the like in the anime, Zoro spends like almost the entire 7 days on that cross, you know. And because he's like, that's his punishment. And in the show is like, you don't need to see the whole 7 days. Like he can just be on the cross when we start the episode. Like he get on there and then leave, because the point is that he's a badass. You get that he's a badass, right?
Right. Yeah. Climbing up the well, all that shit.
He ain't gonna do when anyone tells him to do. And honestly, he is a great. I forgot how good his storyline is with what his desire to become the greatest swordsman is really born out of a desire that the person he respected as a rival in childhood died before he could ever even get to that person's level. So in his head, he's fighting to fight this
he's chasing
a ghost that he can never achieve. So he'll become the greatest swordsman in the world just because he has no cap, no limit on it now. It's Batman. He can't find Joe. He's never going to find Joe Chill. He's never going to get actual revenge for his parents, sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, man, really streamlining these down and hitting the main marks of these characters and their stories and what makes them interesting is really working for me. And the acting is like, the caliber of actors they've got is fucking great. Like, just some people seem to chew up the scenery more than others, but man, I love people that are dressed up ridiculously. Like, what's his name, dressed up as the axe hand guy that has like a steel jaw or whatever. Like, he looks like Jaws from a Bond movie, and they're treating that scene 100% seriously. I find that intrinsically entertaining. Like, nope. I love what's happening right now. It doesn't really matter. They are dressed up so silly. They're dressed up like a Power Rangers episode, but yet I am definitely watching a high-end Netflix production. It's great. But yeah, we were talking about how much we enjoyed Brave and the Bold, so maybe that... But other people seem to be digging it. Other people seem to be into it.
I honestly, the more I watched it, the more I want to see, like,
but also shocking.
Specifically,
you'd think the show would be for.
I want to see comic book stuff done like
I guess they aged up because you'd think it'd be for children too, but honestly, it's pretty bloody sometimes.
It is pretty fucking bloody and violent.
Zoro cuts a dude in half on screen.
Yeah, it's for teens at least.
Like, there's nothing.
And
God damn,
it makes me want to see some of my favorite '90s runs of comics, like Dale Keown's Hulk, when he's like fighting X Factor as a government team and shit. Like. Like there are eras where like this would really get the stretchy weirdness of people. Like this is where I hope like the anime influence on everything leads. I would like to see some comic book stuff done with the total lack of fear of costumes. Like, we talk about like, oh, look how bold they've got their show. Deadpool showing us Wolverine in the yellow costume, and like, yeah, One Piece does it not as a joke or a bit. They're just going to be in the stupid costume, and everybody's just going to roll with it.
Yeah. I really
And I love
really
that.
enjoy it. Really shows a confidence that I'm into, you know. Yeah, and so far I would say like yeah, as far as anime adaptations to live action, I can't think of a better one. I think
it's the one to beat.
like Cowboy Bebop was not this good, I don't think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this might be the one to beat. Let's see. Different from that, I think I watched Minx, which is on its second to last episode. It's got its so penultimate episode. The finale will be this week. It had to jump networks to be here. I don't think Stars could have paid for it. They bought it off HBO and had to pay for like one episode to produce. I'm really hoping that it did well enough to do a third. I don't know what they do, but it looks like they're about to have a little bit of a fortune reset. Like the magazine's crazy popular. They've got the world in their hand, but I'm almost certain that their business partner, the rich lady, is about to completely fuck them over. So I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to be them taking back what they can, which may be just the idea. But a lot of the characters need to find where they're going to go. I'm almost certain that Shelley and Lenny, the sister and her dentist husband, are going to have to make some kind of decision because she is needing to go live her life as a out lesbian woman. And Bambi is really sick of whatever water treading she's doing and trying to break out. Richie knows that he needs to be more like, I feel like this could be the last season. I'm really excited for the last episode just because all these characters need to break off from this show now and go off on their like they've kind of grown all the side characters this season to a point where they need to leave. And I don't know if there's a show that can stay with them all, you know? Because like season 3, I don't think they all need to be at Minx.
Yeah.
And that would mean splitting the show.
Well, I mean, they managed to do
I
it with
probably disagree with
Mythic Quest, although I don't think I ever finished that season. No, think about it.
I didn't finish that season either.
Ooh.
So we'll see if there's more Minx, but there's one more episode and I can't wait. Also, cruising along nicely is Winning Time. This week's episode finally saw it come to a head. Oh, Westhead, that is. As they fired Coach Paul Westhead, played by Jason Segel. Oh, man. I took you through like the highlights of the episode just to show you like him walking in all confident of like, it's fine. The bus is going to reprimand Magic for saying he wants to be traded, and I'll get my way. And his daughter at the restaurant of like, Dad,
you are going to get fired.
You're going to get fired. Like, don't order food. Don't sit down. What the fuck are you doing here?
Well, honestly, it was to the point of like, okay, I know nothing about coaching in sports, and even I know you're about to fucking get kicked to the because they're having meetings.
He's like, it's fine. I called. My meeting got postponed.
They're having meetings without you, which means that the problem
that means you're being fired.
Discussing
is
you like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he gets shit canned. And it's the weird mealy mouth, like nobody quite has confidence in Pat, even though we know as an audience that like Pat Riley becomes this fucking insane coach.
Pat gives a great speech at the end where he just calls every one of the players out on their bullshit, which
he gets his Nate and Ted Lasso speech. Yeah.
I haven't even been watching the full, but even I have been mad about like when he asks Kareem, like, where you been? I'm like, thank you.
Like, yeah, everybody's talking about when you're going to retire. I know.
2 months ago.
2 fucking months ago. And then Magic laughs at that and like, don't show me your
teeth. And I was like, Magic, come on. I was like, Magic, come on. You knew your turn was coming. Why'd you fucking laugh?
When he leans into that, I don't know where you got the idea that you're a star. Like, goddamn,
well,
Pat.
Also, he's like, you were afraid you didn't have what it took anymore, and you took it out on your coach. I watched it happen. Let's not pretend what happened was different. Fuck you. And he was the only one to keep it a class act when he said they were sorry to lose Westhead.
Yeah,
which was a class act because Westhead was a dick up and like. I asked you like, hey, did I miss the episode where they reconciled their big fucking argument?
Like, nope, he was a bitch to him at the fucking start of this episode. Yeah. I mean, he treated him like he's still sidelining him at the very start of this episode, and Riley is still pretty classy about it. Man, I'm fucking loving that show. The look of it, the style, like all the actors are having fun. The plot's fun. I don't know. This is just one of the most enjoyable things to watch on TV. I find myself laughing or pausing at a bunch of different, like, oh shit, that's a great line, or that's a great comeback. Like, well, who are we gonna get as coach? And they cut immediately to Jerry West, who just goes, "Fuck no."
I love that,
Like,
man. That I love that they put up right before the press conference. This really happened, and like they just have the press conference of like who's the coach, and they like, well, he's gonna be fed offense.
Well, he's an offensive.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, man, is there a special teams? What are you doing here? Who's co-coach?
It felt like we need a distraction. Someone set fire to this fucking press conference. Like, don't anything is better than this.
Oh. Now you need a distraction.
Now you need a distraction. Okay.
So yeah, I watched both those. Of course, all the movies. Fanny had not seen Cocaine Bear, so we watched it. It remains funny and has problems right where it had problems the first time. That vagina joke is fucking stupid, and honestly, the inclusion of it annoys me so much it almost breaks the movie. It
screams of someone in some producer or writer was like, no, that's funny, even though when they changed something in the script that no longer made that joke make sense, and they were like, but it's
no, and
I was like, well,
seriously, what 12-year-old boy made you keep that joke in? It's terrible. Yeah. But the movie also has fucking great moments. Character actor Margot Martindale just steals it. God damn it, that beaver's looking a little dusty here, Ranger. Well, I'm trying to work on that. They get some amazing lines, and she gets the best kill in the movie, flat out. And she also gets the best death in the movie.
Which honestly is great for character actor Margot Martindale, but not great for a movie called Cocaine Bear. That the best kill is not bio Cocaine Bear.
It could be called Park Ranger Margot Martindale. Yeah. Yeah. But her kill is so great with her eyes squinted shut, and oh my God. Also, O'Shea Jackson just fucking one of that dude and everything. He's fucking great. Yeah, I enjoyed it again, but also there's a reason why when we were in Canada, Fanny was like, do you want to rent a movie? You want to rent Cocaine Bear? That's what I feel like watching. And I was like, it is streaming right now for free. We should wait 3 days until we're back where it's free.
There's that level of not wanting to, like, remember when we didn't want to pay for the Puppet Master, the Third Reich? And then we watched it on Tubi when it was available, and we were like, "Oh, thank God we did not pay that." What was it, $6? Because it was like, nope, $6. Even $6, I would have changed my enjoyment level.
Yep, and I was like, it's not like $5 matters, but also, man, the $5 you're gonna really love Cocaine Bear if we watch it for something you're already subscribing to.
Yeah,
full stop. And let's see. Oh, and then because of Nick and I watching Bottoms, which we'll discuss on Patreon, Bottoms exists in kind of a weird Heather's World, unreality, and we will discuss on Patreon. But it put me in mind of Wet Hot American Summer, which Fanny had also not seen, so we watched it. For me, that movie is closer to like it's not a scary movie satire, but it's not real. I mean, it's not like Dazed and Confused is dead on real, but like it's realer than this. And it was odd. I'd never watched it with someone else. It was odd to watch how that landed for Fanny, where she was like, yeah, no, this feels like Dazed and Confused to me. I was like, this feels like a send up of Dazed and Confused to me. And she's like, yeah, I'm not getting that. Like that does it. She also loved it, but I was like, wow, most people I know that, I don't know, I feel like Wet Hot American Summer is often either you like whatever they're doing because it's not quite making fun of it, but it's not quite homage, or you are really off-put by the fake world. Like, what in the Wes Anderson bullshit is this? And it was just fun to watch with somebody else where like she really enjoyed it, but it didn't hit her the same way as me.
Yeah. Theater camp felt more real, like a more real life.
Right.
Theater, like real life camp than Bottoms or like
yeah, or Wet Hot American Summer. Even though like Bradley Cooper and Amy Poehler are absolutely the inspiration for some of the shit in theater camp, and that movie's fucking 20 years old now. But at the same time, like in Wet Hot, it feels over the top, like they can't be real, and in theater camp, it feels like these crazy people might really. It feels more like a Christopher Guest movie. Yeah. And then in Bottoms, it feels more like Heather's. Like this high school does not exist. And that's about it.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me, cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying get that together and come back and see me. 3 days since the living room, I realized it's all my fault, but couldn't tell you yesterday you'd forgiven me. But it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.
Now's a good time to remind everybody they can go check us out over at patreon.com/tvdudes, and we'll talk more about Bottoms, which, man, in a summer of fucking hilarious raunchy comedies, this one is an absolutely fine entry that folks ought to go see.
I love, like,
you can hear why.
I love the endorsement there was, in a fucking summer of absolute fucking knockdown comedies, this one is all right.
Man, in any other summer, it'd be the funniest thing of the year. I think it's the fact that I saw Joyride this summer that really fucks the curve in the class up, man. Yeah, between No Hard Feelings, Joyride, Mutant Mayhem, Bottoms, shit, man. Ayo Adabari is April in Mutant Mayhem.
Oh my god,
well.
she's in more fucking than we even thought she was.
Yeah. This is her year. If everybody will learn her name, me, if I would learn her name. So let's talk about the real reason that we're all here this week. Escape from the Bloodkeep. So Escape from the Bloodkeep is the second season of Dropout's Dimension 20, and it is the first side quest starring a brand new cast. Basically, it tells the tale of 6 advisors to the Lord of Shadows, but happening right after his abrupt death. At the hands of the forces of light. And it's up to all the players to figure out what's going on, what to do, and how they're going to finish conquering the forces of light. So they're playing villains, which is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize. So Dropout is College Humor streaming service. It's also on Dimension 20's YouTube channel. There is an audio-only podcast also available. Okay, so that honestly helps me with the way it looks to know that, like, this is cameras in the radio station, because this felt like watching radio to me. I don't watch a lot of these. This is I know there's a term for these kinds of things.
Actual play?
Watching people. Yeah, actual play. So this is an actual play of basically a D&D type game. It's 5th edition. The genre here they list is Lord of the Rings parody and workplace comedy.
So,
which I guess is fair enough.
Yeah, and that's when it has the best vibes off of it. Is them really talking about, like, well, what do we do now that Sauron is dead and we have, like, the fucking head of the orcs just busting down our door looking for, like, you know, recognition. He's like, well, I'm in charge of the orcs. Why don't I get a fucking human is even down with a cause?
It's a bunch of, like, senior vice presidents in charge, you know, who are, like, trying to figure out what to do now that Sauron's dead in the bunker. Yeah.
And as the TV dude that actually listens to podcasts, well, maybe does Randy listen to podcasts? I know you do not like podcasts.
No, oddly.
And I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's the idea behind actual plays. I feel like is the same thing behind a good podcast, is just listening to people talk and having a good time and getting to pretend like if it feels like maybe you would hanging out with your friends when you can't.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, like, I get it in terms of, I get why this works. I also understand it doesn't quite work.
What's different about this one is that the Dimension 20, I'm not sure if this is the first Dimension 20 content. I do have watched more Critical Role. But Dimension 20 has put a lot of production behind this as far as sound effects and cutting in between. Like, there's multiple camera angles that they cut in between as they are playing, which normally, like, if you watch a Critical Role campaign, it's just it's like 3 or 4 screens that they don't cut away from. It's just you watch live, and this feels edited after the fact. And I think
I would prefer the Twitch layout.
Well, the Twitch layout would give you, like, what Critical Role sometimes has is, like, stats. You could put stats about, like, who's playing and whose turn it is and what their character is, what they look like. And that's what I kept feeling here, is that, like, they would every once in a while would put a health bar and show, like, for a quick, and, like, oh, there's some damage that went down, and then the health bar would disappear. And I'm like, wait, why aren't we digitally overlaying everyone's character sheet, or at least what they look like? Because honestly, I keep forgetting what these people, like, I know that they keep mentioning, like, they introduce each other and their names are, but let's be honest, people watch these like they listen to podcasts or actual plays or or let's plays of video games, they watch in and out. They're not paying attention the whole time.
Yeah. Hand to God, I thought Mike Trapp's character was named Soap Bar.
Yeah, I think it is. Soap Bar.
It's
Sock Bar.
Sock Bar. SOKHBARR. Sock Bar.
And it would benefit to show everyone's character name and what they look like, so I know who and who's involved in the scene that's happening. You know, to help my mind movie of it when I'm looking up and down.
Yeah,
and
I know this is partly me not. It's D&D. This is exactly what we used to make fun of people for in junior high. Of like, you don't need a board. You could use your imagination if you've got one. And like I find myself like listening to them and realizing like, fuck, man, I've lost track of what we're doing here. And I don't remember any of your characters'
well, it feels
names.
Like Dimension 20 is trying to make it look more like a TV show, like with the cuts to whoever's focus on the talking and cutting back and forth rather than keeping it on a static image. Makes it feel more cinematic and dynamic, but they don't follow it up with visuals of any kind in regards to. They're just still characters playing, like there's just still people playing. If you showed their characters and maybe a quick animation of them getting like hit or just like a fucking
even not the animation, I just go with their names underneath them. If it's like just lower thirds would have helped me a ton.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help that the very first one they don't use the one that I watched all the way through was the very first one, and then I jumped ahead and watched half of the airship one.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first one, where the big bad dies, Lord of Shadows dies, they don't have to use the actual like space in front of them, the kind of board for figures or anything at all. Which sometimes it doesn't work out to really need the map or need Roll20 or whatever.
Well, if you aren't going to use the overlays, if you don't want to do the work in the edit of putting overlays of their character designs and their names and stuff, put their characters, whoever's talking, on the board and then put a camera on it. Right.
I would have loved that. So when I jumped ahead and watched the airship one, they did actually have like a big model of an airship, which was super cool. I still wish they'd used it more and done more lower thirds, but like they seem to be getting a little bit more into it. So the characters on this, the vile villains, Effink Murder Death is played by Amy Vorpahl, and she and Lilith basically ran the first one that we watched. Lilith played by Erika Ishii.
Yeah.
Then you've also got Kraz Thun or Leland, played by Matthew Mercer, Maggie, played by Rekha Shankar, Marcus St. Vincent, played by Ifi Wadiwi, and Suckbar, played by Mike Trapp. And
I think a lot of college humor
guys. I couldn't have told you with
a
gun to my head any of these people before. I also, it's not just that I don't watch podcasts. I don't watch a lot of, like, I kind of recognized Brennan.
You don't play video games, Les, and all of these actually.
No, and like Brennan Lee Mulligan, I kind of recognize from college humor stuff.
All of these got their start. Actual plays got their start from Let's Plays. It was Let's Plays, people watching people play video games on YouTube and Twitch, and then someone got the idea.
It sounds like the worst part of a sleepover.
And then Critical Role got the idea of like, well, if that's popular, will people watch us play a D&D game? And it turns out, yes, people will. And so now there's actual plays, like there are Twitch plays, and they are a different form of. And what is interesting about this, and why I will not be watching any more of it, I think, is that the escape from the Bloodkeep is it seems like a half-ass attempt to make a more dynamic cut down. Because I feel like with the editing of going back and forth on shots, you can edit down and hide the edits. But also you didn't cut down and edit enough, it feels like, because and then honestly, I don't know, like for me, I watch Critical Role in clips made by someone else a day later or like a week later, and I don't care about what the story progress are. I'm just looking for the most entertaining when, and there's points here where they get to that, like what's it, like a goblin crab is being born out of a horse nightmare.
That was fucking insane.
Which is just like, what the fuck?
My God, this when the Scream Beast like vomits up whatever the shit happened there. I think Was that Jeremy the Scream? Am I mixing that up? Is that Jeremy the Scream Beast? That
Jeremy
birthed
the
some kind
Scream
of
Beast
crab monster?
screams a crab monster out of its face or whatever because it doesn't have
It has a womb, but it doesn't have
like a fucking
path out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No cervical canal outwards or anything like that. Like, well, that's just not good design, feels like.
That's just it seems unintelligently designed.
But
yeah, it like screams out like it's not even a centaur. I can't remember what the top half is.
The top half is is 2 goblin heads. One has
that's
right.
One
has eyes and no mouth, and one has
that's
no
right.
mouth and 2 eyes.
Mouth and
yes. It just
and
screams,
the one with no
what
eyes.
am I?
Yeah, and the one with eye holes or with no eyes like stabs 2 fake eyes into it.
Mm-hmm. And it's insane, and it's like, what the fuck? And honestly, if you'd cut down to just those moments like fan clips do, that's my preferred method of like getting what I'm getting out of the actual plays. But
oh yeah,
it feels like you're trying to go a step, like you're almost there. Like I feel like I wonder
so I don't watch a lot of reality TV, but when you watch something like The Bachelor, or it feels like a weird comparison, but like when you watch something like The Bachelor or Fuckboy Island or whatever the fuck, they are crazy edited. Like we've all seen like the amount of B-roll footage they get, and then like how hyper, like they are absolutely forcing the energy of the scene with the edits, and they get like they stop and get like a real conversation. You're following storylines, but it's hypercut.
Which honestly I thought would be more production than an actual.
That's the last step missing here.
Which is more production than I thought an actual play would be willing to do. But they've obviously done production on.
But that's the thing; they're doing a lot of production.
Yeah, and I was like, geez, why not go the extra step forward and add an overlay of everyone's characters or character art? You can't tell me you can't. Like, I think they were using some Hero Forge designs for their characters to look at, but you can't tell me you can't. You don't have an artist on the back that can just write up a quick profile of that character and have them next to it, so I know what their character's supposed to look like the entire time. And it feels like a D&D game, a 3-hour D&D game that's been cut down to 2 hours, and I would cut that down to 1.5 and make everything move at a quicker, snappier pace,
right?
And then I would worry about continuity issues the next episode or whatever if we need to introduce information.
Like there were moments of this that I'd think like I'm just not plugging in, and then suddenly I'd like something like the Scream Beast shit would have, or I mean there were a few moments like that that were fucking funny and great and fun. It was like, oh yeah, this is D&D. This is what hanging out with your friends playing D&D is like. Like I don't think I'm not liking this because this is done shitty. This is the best this can be done.
Would the actual play we make not be like would be the worst? Like no one wants to watch. Like only us would like it, or like, because honestly, I really feel like that's the way you watch an actual play is that you put it on, and you do laundry and like no one's sitting down and watching 3 hours this intent eyes on the screen the entire time.
Right, not blinking, fucking glued to the edge of your seat. Yeah.
No, you're waiting for shit to happen, like in an actual D&D game. And I kind of like the idea of editing down one of these to just the exciting bits and making a full production out of it. But that's kind of what Vox Machina is. Like,
right.
And so if you're not going to go that far with it, I don't know. I feel like maybe there is something here that you could, like, with a little bit more polish. This definitely isn't it. And it won't change. I don't think I can see why this was recommended. Who recommended this again?
I don't know. Randy had the list.
You know who you are, person that recommended this, strange person. And if your idea was to this is the most visually dynamic and most like a TV show that these actual plays have gotten, and that would make the transition easier for the TV dudes, I would say, yeah, that's a pretty good logic. I see the logic there. It's not enough like that. And even if like, honestly, Les, you said, even if it was to my liking, I probably still wouldn't watch it. Or I'd probably still watch the clips of it later or anything like that. Yeah. And as far as actual plays, I feel like Critical Role does an actual play better. Even though they're not as heavy on post-production. They have the information and like it feels like a D&D game yet you're just watching. For better or worse, that's what it's supposed to be like, I think. And I don't know. At this point, I'm just it was definitely an interesting experiment. I'm not mad I watched it though.
Yeah. I'm definitely not mad I watched it. I've not watched any Critical Role or anything really.
I am very curious.
So this was kind of my first foray.
I'm pretty sure Randy did not
enjoy it.
I know Randy also Randy doesn't like Vox Machina, which made him feel like it feels like watching someone else's D&D game. I'm like, oh shit, God forbid if he actually watched someone's D&D game. Like,
right.
But yeah, I would say I don't think if you were in actual plays, a Critical Role will get you there. You don't need a transitory thing. You know, I think this is my failed experiment of My Hero Academia. That'll get you guys into anime. That's like a superhero one. That's the most westernized one. And it was like, nope, it's not. We're not looking for a gateway drug. We just don't like the TV dudes don't seem to be into anime in any way, shape, or form.
And in the same way, like I feel like this was really well done and it still didn't win me over. But I am glad I watched it.
Indeed.
Good recommendation. And on to our desserts, things that I am waking up in the mornings going, it's Friday, I can watch the show. Or Thursday in Harley's case. Let's start off with Harley Quinn there. I feel like the least impactful this week of all the episodes.
Well, again, it's one of those things of I don't know if keeping Bane back throughout the season and then having a whole episode of Bane, I don't think it's the right move. Structurally, it's not that I didn't like it. I think this episode's really funny, and I love
Bane learning to become the best pasta maker.
I love Nora Freeze. I really do like that aspect of I feel like that half of the episode should be Nora Freeze, but the other half should be, I don't know, Harley or Ivy. You know, the characters that the shows are named after. I feel like
one of them.
Well,
especially because even in this show where they have spent time on him, Harley's felt backseated all season.
Harley's been backseated.
She's going crazy, but we don't really know
Harley
why.
has been backseated to Ivy this entire time because the minute Harley tries to become a superhero, they basically disassemble the Bat family, in 5 episodes. And
she just did more to disassemble the Bat family than the Joker has done in his whole career.
And also, Mayor Joker doesn't get a lot of stories, and now he's back to being evil. And I was like, and it feels like, again, I love this show, but this is the first season where I feel like the writers are showing some weaknesses, because if you can't, if you're not putting any effort in, if you can't do a good, like the Mayor Joker episode, like when he's running for mayor is one of the best episodes of this show. And it's almost like once they made a mayor, they had no idea, like, wait, are you telling me you have no funny ideas for a Mayor Joker?
Well, so for me, the way to go, like Harley at the start of the season, Ivy's talking about eco-villainy. Like she wants villainy that helps the planet. And Harley wants to be Harley, but helping people. And Joker wants to be Joker, but mayor. And like, I feel like there was something there to like have Ivy partner with Joker, but Joker not fully comfortable with it maybe being villainous, but like it's going to help a group of like, there's some spots to learning how to get into the comedy of the gray area of this.
The 3 of them should be learning how to accept their new role. And it feels like Poison Ivy's the only one, well, she's even fucking up her role, but at least she's in it. The other 2 seem to have abandoned their role in their story arc.
Because Harley keeps doing more and more shit to fit in with the Bat family, and I've never been completely sold on why.
Well, she didn't even want to be called a hero.
Like, I know she wants to be not Joker's sidekick, and then that's an evolution towards her being like a hero. But the Bat Family sucks and hates
Remember
her.
when I was talking about the trans character and how weird it was that they weren't supporting Harley through her transition as a
transition.
film? The writers don't see it as a transition. That's why that happened. They don't realize the parallel they drew is because Harley is not really having a transition. Like every episode we lose like Alfred and then Robin and then Nightwing and like Batgirl is like the only one left, and even and she's we lose the Bat gear.
Like for me, plot wise, if Harley's not having a transition, then we're not doing anything, and suddenly we're just treading water.
Yeah, it feels like Harley and Ivy are trying to reconcile their work differences and their new schedules and stuff, and that happens for a first couple episodes. But honestly, Harley's hero side thing falls apart so suddenly. I don't understand why they're not spending more time together.
Right. Yeah. Like there's really not much for Harley to be out there. Like she goes and looks for Babs for an episode. She tries to solve Nightwing's death for an episode, but like,
well, she forgets about Harley. She forgets about Nightwing's death almost immediately, and then goes for Harley. And then there was the episode in the future, which doesn't have any bearing onto the present. And then after that episode where we put both their story arcs on hold, we do an episode where it's Bane and Nora Freeze, and none of and it's like,
that's right. We've had 2 in a row where they found out something about like, oh, we're gonna make a great parent, but like nothing lasting that impacts the present. Really,
it shows me that the writers love the villain side of this because Poison Ivy's story has been great, and they don't know what to do with the heroes, like the hero side of this shit.
No,
and I'm kind of disappointed that Joker is a villain again. Of like, you even brought him back, and now he's not even doing anything as a villain. Now he's just a villain. Like it feels like he's not even doing any schemes. Like he just got called out for not murdering Nightwing, which we thought made sense, you know. And I don't know, but talking about this episode specifically, regardless of all that, it's a funny episode. It's a really great episode. Bane finding the sister of Mama Macarone, whatever his name is, and getting his just fucking ass beat by her until he decides to like fucking blow up like these kids that are making fun of him on this fucking Segway bike.
his scooter,
his little scooter, and then Nora Freeze is trying to protect Volcana of all people from Lex Luthor, and her Captain Cold and King.
When she gut punches her to make her vomit into
you could have just asked me.
You could have asked.
Also, King Shark gets more. Like it feels like they're trying to make like when we said, "Hey, more King Shark and more Bane," they like tried to like, okay, you mean like an episode with them?
No, not like that.
Like no, I mean no more as in throughout the whole thing.
Right.
I don't know, the episode like in the enlarging ray hits his hands and just his hand, one use, damn it.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Yeah.
And
yeah, you can give me more Hacker King Shark for
Lex
sure.
Luthor is screaming like he's becoming more and more Hawk. That's hilarious.
Falcon. Yeah, it's forcing his body to accept
like
Falcon.
He's trying to make the ozone bigger because his laser won't reach.
Oh, when that laser like
well, and then it makes it's what's making everything sepia tone, and I think even Ivy is like, what in the Zack Snyder cut bullshit?
Yes. Yeah. Man, it's still just a great show, but this is the closest to Lost a Step it's been in several seasons.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not because of anything they're doing, it's because of the stuff they're not doing, which is they're just not taking advantage of some great story elements of that's Harley trying to be a good guy, even if she fails at it, is a good idea. Like you should see, I want to see the struggle. Like, fucking Joker as mayor, that's hilarious. Like,
right.
I feel like we should see it more rather than, well, I'm bored of it now, so fuck it. It feels like the characters get bored of their own things like the writers do, and that shouldn't be like, we're bored of Harley being a good guy. Like, Harley's a chaotic agent that kills people. And like, well, fucking, then you shouldn't have tried to make her a good guy in the beginning of this.
Right.
Why did we go?
Why did we do this? We painted ourselves into this
anyway,
corner
we have
in
the
blood.
finale, and I think I'll wait, like, as far as an overall, you know, I feel.
Yeah, I'll wait and see how they tie it up.
Let's see how they tie it up. I do feel like they've lost their chance to really make it organic and sell a message. Even like you can't do this much
Honestly,
work in 1 or 2 episodes.
If they wrap it up at all, and then we get anything as crazy as that Valentine's special again, I'll be happy.
Yeah, but then they're putting their
I'll
putting their marks on a Valentine's special, like a special that they probably don't have or don't know that they're gonna get. But
yeah, I don't think they can count on doing that. Well, a show that definitely hit it out of the park every single episode and just had a great finale. My Adventures with Superman.
Oh yeah. So the Thanksgiving
we
episode,
knew after the 2-part 0-day thing, yeah. Like we knew that we were gonna eventually have to go back to Smallville and deal with the Kryptonian ship.
Which I thought was smaller than
same. And I also thought it was gonna be a like, well, now I'm grown and I'm braver and I've got my friends holding my hands and we're gonna face this ship again. And that's not how that goes down. I thought we were gonna get the like put the crystal in it and like, Kal-El, I am your father.
Well, he still can't talk to Jor-El, and Jor-El can't like.
He still can't speak Kryptonian and doesn't really know anything about any of it.
Yeah.
But Jor-El, oh man, you know there's a language misunderstanding there. Like I'm sure Jor-El is not saying what we think he's saying in the. There's something else to it here.
He definitely knows that Kal-El is his kid, though. Like
yes, yeah.
Clark,
but like
Clark doesn't know.
I'm not 100% sure that Jor-El's the bad guy. I don't know. We don't know. He doesn't know.
Well, he definitely, it seems like he makes a different decision when Clark says family and is looking like he's trying to, and he like, and what I liked about that is they got to parallel that because he was part of an invasion force. They don't get the, my dad put me in a pod and shot me to Earth. And I was like, oh, you motherfuckers, you had your cake and you ate it too, you sons of bitches.
Yep, because Jor-El now puts grown-up suits.
Puts grown soups in a pod and shoots them to Earth. And I was like, that's how you do it. Because, yeah, the portal opens up, like, as bad as the just ship reactivating. And I can't believe I did not know this, Les. But when Jor-El sees the 3 dots, and I was like, oh, fuck, Brainiac.
Yep. And then we jump back to the earlier episode, and sure enough,
those red
0-day is Brainiac.
It's because I don't associate
the
red with
dots.
Brainiac. I associate green with Brainiac. Like that must have been because otherwise it's plain as day on those fucking robots' chests.
I think Brainiac is Krypton's Ultron AI.
Yes.
I think it's Buffalo Wild Wings that gets out of hand.
Because they show at the end
Brainiac Wild Wings.
They show the stinger that Brainiac goes to I'm pretty sure Zod of like they will all kneel, and I was like, oh fuck. So Zod is like still the big bad running like, and Brainiac is running shit behind the tables.
Yeah, I think Zod's the Stark that has his Brainiac Ultron.
Yeah, which could explain what happened because there was definitely an explosion or something in 22 years ago.
Right. That stopped 0-day.
Yeah, and Zod looks definitely
So was
different
that
now.
Jor-El?
Or was that Jor-El? Ah, man. See, you can leave yourself up.
But we just don't know.
You can leave yourself open for the possibilities of that too, because
the 3D 2D look of the show they really gave the right weight to the ships when the power cuts, when the like portal closes and you lose connection.
Yeah,
I love how they just drift out of the sky and like, oh, that's fucking great. Like it just looks great. Also, they revealed in this episode that Ivo's fucking kaiju shell is just still there like a fucking locust hung on your hair.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It shows a consequence for huge super fights that basically always get ignored,
Right.
There's just a celestial fucking hand out in the MCU now, and like no one really acknowledges it. And I love Lois and Clark were like trying to talk around each other and tell Jimmy and not the other one of like, and Jimmy's like, fuck you, and we're not keeping secrets, this is bullshit. It just tells both of them that like hey, Lane is your your dad is fucking the general and oh shit. And yeah, Lois has this like kryptonite shit. Oh damn. And Lois, standing in front of Clark like, don't you shoot my boyfriend.
Yeah. That was great.
And yeah, I love the back and forth. The General Lane just kind of disappears, so we don't really get the fall. Like he just decides to not kill Superman there. We don't really know if he's cool with them or not.
No, yeah, he says it's a false alarm, even though there's no way they didn't see that shit from the satellites.
You can see that on a satellite. There's no, what are you talking about, false alarm? There's a half mile of ship in the middle of the Kent's farm.
I'm gonna assume what he's gonna say later is that false alarm. We saw the 0 day stuff, but not Superman.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sure.
That's all I can think, because otherwise I was like,
but
man, you
it
cannot
also
play
leads
this off.
to, because we see them, that it gets contact to Brainiac and like, oh, hey, shit, one of those worlds we had opened up is fucking putting in resistance. Like, so the in their own way, in their own way, they actually trigger 0 day, the thing they were worried about. Although I don't think it's gonna look like what they thought, because I was like, yeah, shit. I don't know if Zod is still the same, like, Cryptic. He looks weird. Like, I don't know what Brainiac has done to Krypton or the Kryptonian race in general, but...
So the thing we saw this time that said they'll kneel looked like a robot.
It did.
Like, its head didn't look like... It didn't look like a helmet with a Kryptonian... So, but this time, the shape of it, if I'm remembering right, it doesn't look like someone in armor. Its head shape is too flat and wide.
Well, yeah, but
what I'm wondering if
so did the helmet.
Last time
last time looked like a dude with just the same helmet on.
Right. So I think, like, what I'm wondering is the first 0 day 22 years ago, was that Zod with his AI helper Brainiac, and the thing that just noticed the portal open is Brainiac.
Okay. Yeah.
With his AI assistant Brainiac.
Okay.
Like I'm wondering if, like, this thing's Brainiac 3 or something like that,
okay.
You know, Brainiac 2. Like, it was the explosion that happened behind, like, was that Jor-El? Was that
when he says
Brainiac stepping up, or
we'll
what?
make them all kneel, I'm like, okay, they're leaning that's Zod. And I feel like,
but I'm wondering if it's a fake out. I'm wondering if that's the Brainiac that killed Zod and took over some of his trappings.
I feel like he'll be, if he's a genetically modified, or technically like he's a cyborg Zod, that might be a thing. But I think that they're gonna try and lean towards that Zod, and Brainiac is the subterfuge
Jarvis of it. Yeah, the Ultron. Yeah. But like, there's a part of me that's wondering if, like, the gap thing that happened is like the destruction of Krypton, and what's over there now is not the same army as was there before necessarily.
Yeah. Also, the kryptonite affects the technology. Did you notice that the kryptonite fucking makes the crystals overgrow?
And the way, like, it made Superman grow out crystals. Yeah. Like that's a weird react. Like, I like that their cells, like, their skin reacts to it.
Well, they've always treated kryptonite in the comics and cartoons like it's radiation sickness or something.
It looks like a radiation poisoning.
It looks like they're being in this show. It looks like it's an infection, but not biological, like not fungus, but crystal. Like, if a crystal was a fungus or like
it makes their cells freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some kind of fucking Steven Universe cancer.
Because he uses it to corrupt the other crystal in the middle of the ship to bring it down.
Yeah,
and it changed, just like the ship before was a orange crystal, or a red crystal, or whatever. And I was like, shit, did he change? Is kryptonite technology actually based off of Krypton geology? Like, there's different types of kryptonite.
That actually would be. Man, I love this show. Like, all the changes they're making are making me interested in Superman in a way that we have all read headline articles about over the years that should be impossible.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have they said, like, there's nothing new to do with Superman? This is a blast. I want to rewatch the whole show start to finish right now. It's so fun. It's
so great. I love it. Oh, and Jimmy being rich by the end of it, of just like,
Jimmy's rich.
A casual, because it was a big news like an hour ago when he first was going to say it. And he's like, yeah, well, we've been through but they bought Flamebird for like $5 million or whatever. I'm like, fucking rich. What?
And like, credits. Love it. Cannot wait for more. I hope to God they make more of this. It seems like it did well. Everybody I know who's watched it dug it.
What's great is that they even get a resolution in the season finale as reporters. They get to be reporters now.
Yes. You guys were terrible interns.
Which is actually,
there's nothing else we could do
but to make you reporters. So I was like, yeah. and then I love that it seems like that's an article that was just printed this morning and it's Thanksgiving today. And when we get to the Kent's house, it's already framed in a photo. Like, how the fuck? What frame guy did you take that to? That, like,
Oh yeah, it's like a Leslie Knope thing of like, oh yeah, no, I've got a frame guy, I've got a banner
It's
guy
like
on call.
Mama Kent is super mom. Like she can.
Oh man, watching Pa Kent sit in front of the turkey in the
oh
oven.
man, he brings Jimmy
it.
to the side. Like, I don't think this turkey is gonna fucking bake.
This bird will not get up to
It's
temp.
not gonna get up to temp, Jimmy.
This bird will not get up to temp.
Because everyone is sharing their
Jimmy's like,
everyone's sharing their secrets with
okay.
Jimmy at this point, and even Pa Kent's like, I don't think this Jimmy he's not gonna make it a temp, Jimmy.
Right.
Don't tell anyone else. Don't tell.
Like that's when Jimmy cracks.
No.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this show is fantastic.
Oh fucking Ma Kent versus General Lane of like, I do not like that man, and I like everyone.
And I like everyone. Yes. She sets out to like, no, he's just a lot. And then like, man, like 15 minutes later, like, I don't like him. I don't know what to do with this feeling. Like I've never not liked anyone. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking great. I hope we don't have to wait too terribly long for more, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah, man.
In the meantime, rewatch it. Go watch it if you haven't. It's fucking awesome. I mean, on a channel like Max, how could the content not?
Yeah, you might want to fucking like, however, record it for later just in case. Like, just rip it off.
Right. God forbid it become a good tax write-off to drop My Adventures with Superman. Another show that just ended in spoiler alert spectacular fashion, played just as fair as season 1, The Afterparty over on Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
This season really just kept Anik and Zoe and Tiffany Haddish's character, the ex-cop now.
Yeah.
And changed up basically everybody else. And it worked just as well, in my opinion. I fucking loved this season. The closest to not working for me was the found footage episode, but I love that they made it the linchpin, because it fucking would be.
Mm-hmm.
In a series of subjective stories. When you eventually put together something that does contradict, you can go and fully prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do. I cannot believe how fairly this played and how much it made me immediately, just like season 1, want to go back and watch all of the season to see where all these clues were, because they're right there.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Reversals for a couple of characters too. I guess we'll just put up the spoiler warning right now.
Yeah, obviously this is the last episode of a mystery series.
Yeah, but also
you don't want
like,
to listen to this.
The last thing I'm going to say that's not spoiler friendly is that my fucking pseudo armor theory is wrecked. Like, okay, that was nothing. Shit.
Yes, you were very, very incorrect on that.
It turned out it was another obscure thing that wasn't as obvious.
Yep. So, spoiler.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
And we're back. Let's talk spoilers on Afterparty. I honestly, for a little while, I really thought it was going to be that he just poisoned himself. But the fact that it was a poison mix-up like they thought, but just not the poison mix-up we thought.
Yeah.
It was actually John Cho trying to kill his brother, and that just happened to kill Edgar.
Yeah, because Funkle Ulysses is trying to get Vivian back, and they kind of
nothing sounds quite as psychotic as I had to
here's where
help
they
you
kind
move
of
on.
cheat. So his story is negated by Vivian's story, and we only get Vivian's part of it
Last episode.
the last episode of contradicting one particular scene. So it's like, okay, that contradiction you couldn't have borne out in the previous episodes because they waited until here to like tell you that wait, so you didn't bring up a paternity test to her. Like that wasn't part of this thing. But everything else,
it's a lie and a show of lies, of like so many bullshit lies that don't matter, or that are people being weird for reasons
glass
you don't
stuff
understand.
that they used.
The whiskey glass thing was beautiful. Fair.
And the what's it called? The poison that ended up being used with the horn, and his like
the bouncing dog. You bounding hellhound.
Why did he spend so long in the shower, Les? Remember when we were like, why is he spending so long? He's fucking needs hot water for that tea.
Making tea. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Like, God damn it. That's right. And we even noticed it was weird, but we just thought he was a weirdo. And that's where I really love the show, is that like it rides that line of tea cozy mysteries, Agatha Christie kind of thing of like, is this a fair mystery, or did you pull some magic out of your hat at the last minute? Like it rides right on the line, because it gives you a lot of
false clues, weirdos, people just doing strange shit, misdirects,
What I like
red
about
herrings.
it, like what you said, if you paid attention to the whiskey glass of it all, like, because when they actually tracked it down, like, shit, if you actually tracked down everybody's story and went out and looked for the who said whiskey glass and who said what, and it was like, yeah, but Grace doesn't.
Yeah.
And they went back and said, like, nope, they actually mentioned a couple times Grace does not like whiskey. I forgot about it, but they did mention it. And
like if you made that chart of like, and so doesn't like this, but does like this, but and like those kind of mind puzzles, you could do that with this mystery and solve it. And the fucking nerd kid in me just loves that.
And also, Ulysses says he drinks, like, Fang drank from the glass he gave him, but honestly, no other person ever corroborates that.
No,
including
and even when they say it in the last
Fang.
episode, I'm sitting there thinking, no, man, based on what we know from both of y'all's stories, there's no way he drank with you.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way he shared a toast with you. He's so done with your ass. Yeah.
And he
turns out he was fucking bullshitting, and nobody wanted to see it be the Funkle.
Yeah, and I do love that Stingray gets a win on this. Travis, I think is his name in the actual show, but
yes, he acts dumb through the whole. I mean, he is dumb, but he acts dumb through the whole thing in like bosyphilis.
So everyone shorts.
What?
Everyone shorts the stock. Like, well, we're like, what's his name?
Or the crypto? Yeah,
shorts the crypto. So that they're gonna and they finally get it done. That's what he calls the cops. And we didn't realize that like Stingray made that call to his mom, which I knew was bullshit, but I thought it was gonna be something dumber. And he actually talked to his Reddit friends of like, because he now has the inside scoop of like, oh shit, the game stopped him. Like, someone's about to short this stock. If you guys can inflate the value,
stomped the fuck out of that. Yeah.
So he has the Reddit guys buy it up and inflate its value and fucking destroy that, at least the cryptocurrency. They're probably still independently wealthy with all their...
So like Isabel is still independently wealthy.
Yeah.
And she can afford to like, she's going to keep all that wealth and pay $1 million to Grace, who's going to give it to her dad to rebuild the truck.
But what's his name? Hustler is fucked.
But yeah. Fake English prick is broke and thrown out. Like I love that she's like done with him as a boy toy when he's broke. Like, well, you're fired.
Yeah, which honestly I think
we could just do ham
honestly
stuff.
I think they made him mean to Travis in the last couple episodes, because otherwise we would have had too much sympathy for him from just his episode. Because honestly he was like, oh yeah, I get why you were trying to fuck over Edgar. Fuck Edgar. Edgar sucks.
Yeah. I love her expression of like, leave. I already have one dog that won't die.
God damn, that dog is hilarious.
Also, that fucking immortal dog. Man, the look on Zoe's face when they start calling the dog, she's like, "No!" And like it runs into the room, and she's so shocked.
When the scene happened and she throws him out the window, I was like, "Les, what floor are they on?" And you just said, "Not the first." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." He's like, "Yeah,
I love
one
that
floor
because it's a
like...
horror movie scene." When they show out the window, it's just fog.
And he's like, oh no.
Like you can't, the dog just falls away.
And the dog bounces on the trampoline, which is like, explains the bouncing demon dog. I was like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was just hallucination. He was going to yell but nope. Like everything else of the show, it had a weird explanation.
Actually has a thing.
And yeah, I think the only thing I'm disappointed in the finale is that we didn't, like, Zoe and Vivian get their one scene that is from their, like, that is a scary camp, and the one is like from a soap opera. And I was like, okay, obviously this is the wrap-up episode and we need to be talking about who did it, and it's a long explanation. So I would have liked to seen maybe a little bit more from one of them, like axe one of those, and then just see a little bit more from one of those jokes rather than just a quick of either one. But that's a light quibble. I think that's just a structural thing. Also, love that Vivian. I've seen it before where like, okay, it's not poison, you drink from it. I've never seen, I don't think of like, I know you're in love with me and you tried to poison my husband because you want to be with me. So I am going to drink from your horn or whatever to prove to you that it's poison, because I know that you will not. I'm like, shit, dude, that is baller. Like, to go to the person that tried to kill your husband and go, I'll drink it because I know you're so into me that you won't let me drink this if it's poison.
Yeah. No, that was a wonderful fucking showdown. The that calling his bluff on that, and he like, no, why?
And then even Fang gets a punch in as a hit.
Yeah, oh, that was wonderful because he had to show like as he's like, and you're fucking I have a passion for you. My stupid brother will never.
Yeah,
and like he's got to show that passion right then, and she digs it, man.
She's into it.
She kisses him on the porch.
Well, also it never felt like she wasn't into her husband. She's like, I think everything she said was like, no, he's a compassionate and driven man, and I was like, yeah, I guess.
I just also had a torrid affair with his brother.
Think about it, Les. Vivian's disinterest in her husband was in Ulysses' story.
Yes. Man, both of these seasons absolutely pay for the rewatch. Like absolutely pay you for it or make it worth your while. I love Daniel Radcliffe as Xavier.
Holy, okay, so that might be the biggest fucking spoiler of it all. That Tiffany Haddish, I love that no one pointed her out. Like, why are you writing a book when your whole thing is mind movies? And she just has the light bulb. I think either you or Randy said something the first episode we watched of this was like, her thing is mind movies, and yet she's trying to write a book, and
and having trouble with it.
Daniel Radcliffe as Xavier. They never show him, which was funny in and of itself. I would have gone just one step further and had him be the dead body and said that like call your but with the writer strike and everything, you obviously thank God they didn't call their shot on the third one. But.
Who knows if there's another season? There doesn't have to be, but I'd watch the fuck out of it.
Oh my God, can you imagine the premise of they have to like Jaleel White is playing fucking Anik now and is engaged to Tiffany Haddish and then can you imagine Daniel Radcliffe?
But you have real Anik there investigating the murder with Tiffany Haddish, but it's on a set where everyone's dressed like season one.
And now investigating the fucking meta. Like
I honestly my head
my head's
gonna explode. I need it so deep, bad,
and yet I'm totally into it.
I missed a kick, Nick. Yeah, I want to watch the fuck out of that and make that happen now. Yeah, man.
Elijah Wood as
I bag
as
on a lot
Jasper.
of Apple TV shows.
Elijah Wood is Jasper.
Oh, man, and Jaleel White as Anik. Yeah, it's so good.
I love the idea of getting more famous actors to play the real people in the, and you could do it on the cheap because Daniel Radcliffe could just be the body. Like he could be the editor of like.
Also, Radcliffe's down for whatever.
Yes, for sure. I've seen that dude lately. Like Guns Akimbo and Horns. Like, yeah, he's into it.
Fucking weird. Yeah. He's Weird Al.
Get him in a room with some whiskey, and I bet you could talk him into it, man.
You can talk about anything. Yeah. Yeah, Radcliffe's down.
Loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us. Next week, I will be gone, but Randy will be here. And I don't even know what we're talking about next week. I'm sure we're going to talk about Afterparty again because we've got to get Randy in on that discussion. And pretty soon, Harley will be wrapping up. We'll be dessert-free and sailing off into a land of all the television we haven't watched while the strike continues. But those who want to jump over to Patreon can listen to Nick and I talk about Bottoms, which is hilarious, and we'll tell you why. Until next time, though.
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.